Now, when it comes to dessert, if you're more likely to be looking for a cheese plate than a slice of cake, then you're in for a treat, because Elisabeth Ryan is here from Sheridans Cheesemongers with a fabulous assortment of cheeses. Elisabeth, thank you so much for coming in and joining us.
Not at all, Ella. Thanks a million for having me.
You have brought so much with you. Let's
I know, we have lots and lots to go through. So we're just kind of putting together a cheese board in various ways, and the rules of a cheese board really are a soft cheese, a hard cheese and a blue cheese. You can do lots of different variances within that. But we're going to start off with two of the softer cheeses here. This first one here is Wicklow Blue. Kind of weird to start with a blue cheese, but it's quite a mild one.
And I have to say, I hated blue cheese. Well, hate's a strong word, but like I never liked it.
Yeah. Now this one actually is, I call this kind of a blue for beginners.
Oh really?
It's
but I think you really do develop a taste for it, and the more you try blue cheese, the more you like it. Because I actually love blue cheese, now, especially with a bruschetta with tomatoes. Fabulous.
Well, they say like with olives and anything like that, that if you actually persist, you know, and you keep eating and trying a little bit, that you can get to like them. One of the ways that I suggest people get to like blue cheese, if they're actually trying to like it, is to have it with an accompaniment, first of all, something like one of those chutneys. There, something a little bit sweeter, and a little bit less blue cheese, a little bit more of the chutney. And as time goes by, eventually, in a couple of months' time, you'll want less chutney and more cheese, you know.
That's fab.
So this is Wicklow Blue, made by the Hempenstall family in Kernstown. So it's a little bit like a Cambozola, but it's much more artisan-style cheese than that. Kind of basically a brie with a little bit of blue through it, and it's really creamy.
It is creamy, it's lovely. Another soft cheese?
Another soft cheese, then we have, moving on, I'm just going to unwrap this. I left it whole because it's so pretty. This is, I think, just at this moment in time, my favourite cheese in the world. This could take me a little while, a bit of an operation, but it's wrapped in rose leaves here, and I'm not going to even unwrap the whole thing. I'll just do it like this, just to give a little bit of a taste there, because otherwise I'll be at it all day. Yeah,
it's fab, isn't it, the way they package it?
So this is from a company called Cora, and they're in northern Italy, and I'll just give it to you on one of those dishes. Yeah, it is a Robbiola. It's a goat's cheese, and it is quite fresh in style. And you can see the flavour of the rose coming through it, and it's really sweet, and it's got all these kind of just fragrant, aromatic, and a lot of that is from the leaves, but also the milk itself, and the quality of the milk used to make this cheese is amazing.
It's really unusual,
isn't it?
That's fab. I think you can really taste the little rose leaves coming through, which is fab.
So that's a super. So that's a versatile one, because it can be a soft cheese on your board, or it can be. This would be quite hard to get. We only get it every so often. We just get a few boxes on top of our pallet of Parmesan. But it's an amazing cheese. So
a hard cheese then.
A hard cheese then. Moving on. So we have this one here, which is Glebe Brown, which I think we've done before, a little bit like a Comté. So if you taste that, and then just to give you a little bit of an example of what happens when a cheese ages, we're going to just taste this a year on. So
the same cheese.
Yeah. So if we can look at that there, the rind has got a lot more kind of intense coming into the cheese there. And if you taste the difference there, you'll get quite.
It's chalkier, isn't it?
Yeah, crumblier. Usually, the cheese is going to get a lot harder. It's going to condense. The flavours are going to get stronger, different. This particular cheese has a little bit of bitterness at the end,
it does,
like chicory, maybe. Made by David and Marie Tiernan. Down in Dunleer in County Louth, and actually I just visited them and watched the cheese being made the other day.
Oh wow!
And amazing. David is a fantastic character. He's really great.
I have to say I prefer it
younger.
Yeah.
The older one, and I suppose it's a little bit like having bought this goat's cheese because it's so difficult to get and it wouldn't necessarily be available, but is more of a kind of an oddity thing. It's just something. He had one extra wheel that was aged a year, and we said, you know what, we like that, and we think we could sell it. You know, so and sometimes it's really interesting to look at the different cheeses in their different states of maturity like that, you know. So moving on to another type of hard cheese, I have a goat's cheese here from Killeen, and it's kind of a Gouda style.
Sometimes people don't particularly like goat's cheese in particular. I think it's more like a, it's a stronger taste again. Yeah,
and I mean, it's going back to this thing of that. More artisan-produced goat's cheeses actually, in fact, are not as strong as you might think. They're usually a lot more subtle in flavour. Like, that's very mild.
Yeah, that's very subtle, isn't it? It's really nice.
And so this with the hard, the soft, the blue thing, you can see here, we're kind of, you could have a soft goat's cheese, or you could have a hard goat's cheese, or they could all be cow's milk if you wanted, but you can mix and match as you go.
And speaking about the cheese board itself, when you are doing a cheese board for your guests, what are the kind of guidelines? I mean, how how long do you leave the cheeses out for? When you buy them, you know, do they go straight into the fridge? What's the process? Because I think people really like to know that part of it.
Yeah, I think, I know people often think that they need to take the cheese out all day, and they're trying to leave it out and get it to room temperature. But the problem is that our room temperature these days is actually a lot warmer than what room temperature technically means.
Okay.
So really, generally speaking, with a softer cheese, I'd probably only take it out of the fridge an hour in advance, because you don't want it to be too soft and completely lose its, you know, like under the lights here, for example, everything by the end is melting. And with harder cheeses, then I might take them out a couple of hours beforehand. Or if you do, and not everybody does, but if you happen to have a cool pantry area, you could actually leave a harder cheese at a kind of 15-degree temperature all the time from when you buy it until when you serve it. But generally, for most people, the vegetable compartment in their fridge is the place to go, and then take it out. Take out a little bit at a time. That's the key, rather than taking out a large chunk,
a big block,
you know, and hacking off of it and then putting that back. It's that change in temperature which actually will damage the cheese.
Okay.
So if you do have a big chunk like that, take off a smaller block, as much as you think you're going to need for the evening, and take that out. And also, the trick is to buy little and often. You know,
I was just going to say that. I mean, because these are the big
yeah.
box
I mean,
cheeses.
that's what we would cut off in our shops and stuff.
How, if you're having a dinner party, how do you know how much of each cheese to buy? I mean, is there kind of a guideline?
Well, generally speaking, and I mean, this is one of the reasons why it is great, you know, to come to a shop like Sheridans and actually talk to the staff, because they'll know straight away if you come in and say, I'm having 5 people to dinner, and you know the cheese is going to be a big part of it. They'll say, okay, you need this much of this. But generally speaking, we say around about 100 grams of cheese per head.
Okay.
So you can work it out accordingly. So if you're having 3 cheeses and you're having 4 people, you're going to need...
Don't even ask me. Quick math in my head. But you can find out in the shop.
Yes,
it'll be there to help you out. Perfect.
Yeah.
So, and as well, the chutneys, I mean, are they really a nice accompaniment to go for with your cheeses?
I mean, I think you have to be quite specific about it there. I mean, I bought a couple. We didn't actually try them with them, but there's like a little muscat jelly.
I have this one in my cupboard.
The Sheridans chutney.
I love that one.
And we specifically made that, though, to be a lot sweeter than a lot of chutneys. I'm not saying you have to only buy Sheridans chutney, but generally speaking, it's the sweeter things that will go better with cheeses. Whereas if you get a lot of chutneys that you buy commercially, they're going to be very high in vinegar content, and it's actually not good. It's going to clash quite a lot with the cheeses. And in fact, things like jams, we have a fig jam there and a little dolcetto jelly, go really well with cheese. You know, maybe not kind of strawberry jam, but speciality jams that you can get, like fig jam and cherry jams and things like that, can go really well with cheese. Or
I think the trick is really, you know, for people to experiment a little bit, to try new things and to try different accompaniments. And I think it really does make a nice a nice end to a dinner party if you're not big into dessert.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's one of those things, I think, in fact, I had people over to dinner last night. It's a very convivial thing to share a cheese board, you know, pass me a bit of that, and it's not quite as kind of formal, and, you know, you have something in the centre of the table and everybody's serving and helping themselves. So I think it's a real focus point at the end of a dinner party, and something that I think people enjoy, that kind of sharing vibe as well. So
brilliant. Well, listen, thank you so much for bringing in all the different varieties.
Not at all.
And I'm going to hang on to that, because we are going to take a quick break. If you want any more of the details of any of the cheeses that we've covered, you can email us theeveningshow@city.ie. We are going to take a quick break. Still to come, Miguel Torres Jr. recently joined us in Ireland, and I got to go along and visit him. So that's coming up in part 2. But in the meantime, I'm going to have a little bit of cheese. Elizabeth, I'd have to have some more cheese with me.
I know.
We're going to have a little bit of this.